evening. Welcome to Cardiff City TV. Well, shooting opportunity. Oh, it's brilliant. Morrison, goal!
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV and welcome to this evening's live coverage of the Bluebirds' trip to Peterborough United, somewhere where the Bluebirds haven't enjoyed too much success. I was going to say in recent years, John Donovan alongside Ashley James here this evening, but it's actually recent decades, not one at London Road since 1986, but it is usually a fixture that brings about plenty of goals and excitement.
It does, and I think your memory immediately goes, Ash, to, was it that New Year's Day game where I hadn't travelled to London Road and was going out with some friends for celebrations, and we were 4-0 up when I left, or 4-1 up, and it finished 4-4. So crazy things can happen at Peterborough, and they usually do.
Yeah, conceded 4 goals 3 times in the last 12 years there, that last twice, 90th minute winners for the Posh as well. This evening, though, Cardiff go in good form, unbeaten to start this, not just the championship, but this season campaign for the 2021-22 campaign, all told, after that draw with Barnsley and the win at Blackpool on the weekend, and of course the cup exploits as well that has us through to that second round draw, and a home game with Brighton and Hove Albion a week today. But this evening we travel, like I said, to London Road to face Darren Ferguson's Peterborough United, newly promoted. They will form tough opposition and themselves a bit of a bounce from the weekend, a 99th minute winner for themselves against Wayne Rooney's beleaguered Derby County. Now the team news for Cardiff is in, and it's rather unsurprising. Mick McCarthy makes no changes to the team that won at Bloomfield Road at the weekend, and why should he?
If it's not broke, you don't need to fix it. The system, the structure was excellent on the weekend, Ash. I thought it was a thoroughly impressive away performance, and I think, you know, James Collins, and we're talking about James Collins as this player who was signed to back up Kiefer Moore, and that is maybe how it will play out as the season goes on. But I think we need to start talking about him as a very good player, a very good pro in his own right, and he's proven that at Cardiff City. Yes, missed a couple of chances on Saturday, but his all-round game was excellent. He did bully the defenders. He did put his body on the line. He protects the ball very well, and I think he just exhausted the 2 Blackpool centre-halves, and that created room later in the game, not just for Kiefer Moore to come on and score, but other players as well to have space to run into. So I think he's a selfless player, James Collins. So he's got the shirt at the moment, and run with it. He's doing very well.
Talking about running with it, Ryan Giles, a player at the moment who's drawing plenty of plaudits from the Cardiff faithful, from the media, for whoever is watching the Bluebirds really, and rightly so. He's provided such a threat, specifically on the counter-attack so far. 2 players who haven't quite received the same level of plaudits, but from what I've seen from the 2 games, Marlon Pack and Joe Rolls have won the midfield battle of both league games so far, and that's the reason we've got positive results from both.
I thought they were both excellent on Saturday. I thought they grew into the game against Barnsley, and really that 20-minute spell after half-time where I thought Cardiff were good value for their lead. You're right, they were excellent. I thought Joe Rolls was fantastic on Saturday. Combative, but probably the best use of the ball I've seen from Joe Rolls for some time. I think he's a player who last year was constantly playing through injury and fatigue, but it looked like the dynamic Joe Rolls of old on Saturday. And you're right, Marlon Pack was a nice foil. I think people maybe overlook as well the leadership that Marlon Pack brings, along with Aidan Flint. I think he's the most vocal person in that side. He talks players through the game. He was certainly talking young Joel Bagan through the game on Saturday. That was noticeable. So it was a good combination in there. But also then you have the strength and depth off the bench. And there's been talk this season of Cardiff's squad not being particularly deep, but you're bringing Will Vokes off the bench on Saturday with a point to prove. And in a 10-15 minute period on Saturday, he certainly did prove a point. So there was a lot of positives to take, and hopefully it continues tonight, because any sort of positive result tonight, Ash, I think you've got to say the start of the season has been a success.
You touched on a player there that I want to talk about a little bit. That's young Joel Bagan. It was a headline-catching bounce-back performance by Leandro Bacuna on the weekend, purely because of the criticism he received from the missed chances the week before, and of course grabbed his goal at the weekend. But Joel Bagan came in for a little bit of criticism, as does everyone on social media these days, and I thought he put in a really stoic performance at the weekend, which belied his relative lack of experience still at this level, and produced a moment in the game that Cardiff fans absolutely adored with that cynical foul.
But you touch on that cynical foul, and actually I said about it in commentary, I liked it in the sense that as a 19-year-old to read the situation and know making a foul at that point in the pitch was beneficial to Cardiff to stop the counter-attack and what have you. That says to me that as a 19-year-old, he has an awareness of the game around him, he's reading the game well. So yeah, it was cynical and it was a little comical, but it also says to me he's a young man with a reasonably mature head on his shoulder, and his reading of the game situation was very good. He is going to make mistakes. I think he's got a great left foot. I think his distribution, he needs to trust himself a little bit more. I think he needs to step forward and influence the game a little bit more, because I think his left foot is very, very good. He is a modern day fullback, but I don't think his defensive game is particularly weak at all. I think he's strong in the tackle. He likes the tackle, and Mick McCarthy said in his after-match remarks after Blackpool, he's a player that stood out from his first training session. So, we've called for this for years, Ash. These young players, these youth players to come into the team, and now this is happening, and it's only a good thing for Cardiff City.
And it probably makes life a little bit easier when you've got 1,300 games of first-team EFL football behind you, in the likes of Sean Morrison, Curtis Nelson and Aidan Flint, who are yet to put a foot wrong this season.
Well, absolutely, and then again, you're talking about strength in depth. Mark McGuinness only lost his place probably because of injury, and Kieran Brown, we know just what a valuable player he is to the squad. But you're absolutely right, a difficult, and particularly the first 20 minutes, quite a passionate home crowd at Blackpool, a tight ground, could be an intimidating ground. To have those three, commanding three, was key for Cardiff City. I thought Sean Morrison coming back in, I spoke to you before the Barnsley game that I felt against Newport he wasn't match fit, and that's probably why he didn't start against Barnsley. So I had my concerns at the weekend. I thought he came in and was impeccable, but I really thought that Aidan Flint was a colossus, in both boxes. Winning a lot, organising, making tackles, his mobility, which is sometimes criticised, I thought was good, and Curtis Nelson is a good foil as well. So in terms of building foundations, or building from strong foundations, Cardiff City can't go far wrong with those three this season.
Well, if you are playing catch-up for any reason, you did miss the weekend's action, then stick around now, and we're just going to show you some highlights from that weekend win at Bloomfield Road.
Yeah, they did enjoy it. We enjoyed them. They were brilliant, the fans. Travelled in numbers and made a load of noise. And to be fair, they've seen a good performance. First half was excellent. We should have been going in front and didn't, and then that's always a worry. So we maintained the performance and managed to get a couple of goals, which is great, and a clean sheet, and the travelling fans loved it. I know they had a couple of that's their goalie coming saying it was tough. Anyway, really pleased with the performance. Yeah.
Coming back from last season, that fans weren't there. It's just a different vibe. I think having the fans back, having the 12 men supporting you, I think it makes football. Playing without fans, I don't think it's football. I think being back with everyone in the stadium and your away fans supporting you, I think it's just made football bright again.
What about the ball that Ryan Giles stuck on his head? And he put cross after crossing in the first half, and corners, nothing come of it. And he picked him out beautifully, and it was a fabulous header. You know, once you put a cross like that, you expect Keeper to score with it, and he did.
I think it was a very, very good team performance. I think looking at the first half, we had the better chances. We didn't finish them off, but you could see we had the momentum going and coming back in the second half. Myself having a few chances in the first game as well. Now finally finding the back of the net.
Mick McCarthy and Leandro Bacuna there discussing that weekend's win away at Bloomfield Road. We've already mentioned it, John, this evening. A tough task. It's not going to get any easier, despite the fact that it's another promoted team. It's a ground where we have a wretched recent medium-term history, call it what you will. And they're a team with a point to prove. Plenty of moving parts in that, as we're about to discuss, and still plenty of new signings trying to bed in.
You're absolutely right, but there's obviously still that feel-good factor from promotion. When you look at that result at Derby at the weekend, and you mentioned it, you know, scoring both goals to win the game in stoppage time, that to me speaks of a team that's still, you know, very buoyant, still has a great deal of confidence in their ability, is used to winning games. So any side, and Mick McCarthy said this about the fixture list when it came out, when you play those newly promoted sides very early in the season, you're playing against teams that are confident and are used to getting results. London Road, or is it Western Home Stadium now in new money? London Road is one of those old-fashioned grounds, tight grounds. Again, it could be atmospheric. What Cardiff did so well at Bloomfield Road on the weekend, I thought, Ash, was you mentioned Marlon Pack and Joe Rawls winning that battle in the first 15 minutes to really take the sting out of the game. And I suspect they're going to have to do a similar thing early doors tonight. Yeah,
it was a controlled performance, wasn't it, from Cardiff largely. Missed a couple of opportunities first half, but could have been comfortable by half-time. It's been a number of years since we've been comfortable. You could say we could have been comfortable falling up at half-time there, yes, in one of our previous meetings, but it's not the type of ground that Darren Ferguson's team, especially front-foot football specialists, don't tend to make it comfortable for you.
No, they'll move the ball quickly, and again we're going to have to earn the right to play, and I've been critical of that, about Cardiff City in some recent seasons. We've talked about perhaps sometimes the midfield being outnumbered and what have you. We were very good on Saturday, and I thought we and I don't mean this in the way that everyone sort of takes it and people think we play Stone Age football. I think we bullied Blackpool in a good way, in a tactical way, in a pressing way, and earned the right to create those chances. Mick McCarthy will of course want us to be more clinical tonight, because there were a lot of chances missed, particularly in the first half, and when you have a 4-goal lead at a ground and then throw it away, you might not even sit comfortable if you have that amount of lead. So best be as clinical as possible tonight.
Well, 3 changes from Darren Ferguson, but we've got our first starting 11 bingo of the season, because I can see 5 centre-halves and 3 full-backs in that starting lineup. I like to think I know my championship football. I'm really struggling to hand on heart predict how this starting 11 is going to line up, but what we do know is there's no George Grant, but Sakiri Dembele comes in to start, and those are really the 2 takeaway factors, aren't they?
There are, you know, they pretty much got hammered opening day against Luton playing a more traditional 4-4-2, so we switched to 3 at the back and then 4 in midfield and a 1 and a 2 for Saturday against Derby. I don't think it's going to be, you know, quite that. but I don't think he's going to stray too far from a system that got him a win on Saturday. You know, looking at it, I wonder whether Josh Knight, and he's the player we've been discussing, does he sit as a holding midfielder just in front of the three centre halves maybe to give an extra layer of protection? I said to you before coming on camera, I thought Darren Ferguson was a little patronising in his pre-match news conference when he talked about a tactical battle against Derby and it'll be no way tactical against Cardiff. Well, I just wonder there whether it's a little bit of double bluff that Knight will come in to, in a tactical way, add another layer of protection, maybe do that role we saw Fulton do for Swansea against Kiefer Moore at Cardiff City Stadium last year, albeit on James Collins, where he just sits in front of Collins with the three centre-halves behind and looks to pick up any loose ball and stop Cardiff building a platform that way. So it's going to be interesting in the first 10 minutes to see how Peterborough set up, but I think it's three centre-halves with an extra layer of protection tonight and wide players looking to get forward in support of their strikers.
I was about to say, Darren Ferguson not anticipating a tactical battle this evening. Perhaps he's trying to overthink it himself. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen a manager overthink things lining up against a Mick McCarthy team.
It doesn't, but I must admit it did annoy me a little bit because I talked about the when you and I spoke before the Barnsley game, people talk about Cardiff as a direct team. Well, if you're direct with purpose and there's something applicable to it, that's no bad thing. Whatever the case, it's still a tactical battle because you have to find a way to cope with the way Cardiff play. So I think Cardiff sometimes get a bad press, Ash, and my final thought on that was against Blackpool on Saturday, I think we showed we can do both. We can mix it and we can play some football.
Oh, we had an awful lot of good press coming out of that Barnsley game, both within the club and externally. Let's hope that continues this evening with, fingers crossed, a win and a much needed one away at Peterborough. Myself and John on commentary this evening for live commentary of the Bluebirds at the Posh, the other side of these.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Flat trajectory on that throw, which has caused a few problems. Here's a chance for Vukic, and they've scored again. 3 goals in 6 minutes for Cardiff City have put them very much in charge. Throw that caused all the problems. How often have we seen that in recent times? First around Harris Vukic. His side footing.
afternoon and welcome to Cardiff City TV. We are here at Cardiff City Stadium this afternoon, broadcasting live from Leckwith for Cardiff City under 23 versus Wigan Athletic under 23. Tom Davis was equal there here. Kieran Evans managed to get an interception. Oh, that's a bit of a harsh challenge, I think. Not too much pressure on the keeper, but nonetheless makes himself known. He's the loudest voice in the box, and he claims it. Now here comes Keenan Patton. Cuts in, right-footed shot. And it's so close off the rebound there. Kieran Evans, unfortunate for him there. Keeper was anticipating the shot, managed to tip it away. Nonetheless, corner kick for Cardiff City. Nice little turn from Ismail here. Onto his right foot, takes a shot. Fortunately, it's not quite connected with it the way he would have liked to, and it's straight into Sam Tickle's gloves. Kieran Evans has won it well there. Plays through Chankazimba. Oh, and it's at the post. That is certainly the biggest chance of the half this far. Flicked on by Taylor Jones well. Oh, Tom Davis. It's an audacious shot from the young man, but it's gone just higher than he would have liked. Now we're going to into the area. Oh, and it's struck wide. I think the caught us maybe a little off guard there. Well found on Kieran Evans there. He takes a shot. It's a wicked shot, to be fair, but it's caught well by Tickle. Promising ball there by Tom Davis. Finds Isaac Vassell. Takes a touch inwards. It's loose. Kieran Evans puts it away wonderfully. Right foot of the looks of it. Fantastic save by George Ratcliffe. Manages to get a palm to that and just smacks it high and over for a corner kick. And that's it, and that's full time. I think a deserved win for Cardiff City, Sam. I think it's a score that reflects the match.
"80 years might sound like a pretty long time, but if you're an idea, a dream, a belief, then 80 years is just the beginning."
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV. Well, shooting opportunity. Oh, it's brilliant. Morrison, goal! Good evening. Welcome to Cardiff City TV. Travel east to Peterborough United. of the Posh for the Bluebirds. First visit to this ground in 8 years, and looking for their first win here since 1986. That is an awful long time ago. Older than many of you listening. Nearly as old as I am. I'm Ashley James. Alongside me this evening we have John Donovan. John, we've had our pre-match meeting, our pre-match ramble on Cardiff City TV, and regardless of the contrasting fortunes to the start of this season, we are anticipating an eagerly contested battle here this evening.
We are, Ash. Good evening to you. Good evening, everybody. First of all, Ash, thank you for leaving me out of that conversation. I am a little older, so was born certainly the last time Cardiff had a victory here at London Road. These two games, everyone talked about the match against newly promoted clubs. You play in clubs that are used to winning. They've had successful seasons the season before. They haven't been downtrodden too much by championship action and maybe losing more games. And as a result, they're still riding a crest of a wave. Cardiff City, I thought, were excellent on Saturday, particularly in the first 15 minutes, killing the crescendo of noise at Bloomfield Road and really taking the sting out of Blackpool. And I suspect they will have to do a similar thing tonight. I imagine the home side will start on the front foot, roared on by a home crowd who would have enjoyed if they were still in the ground with people leaving early, but if enjoyed that 2 goals in second half stoppage time to win against Derby on the weekend, and they'll want their team to go at Cardiff City from the start, Ash. So a really important first 15 minutes, I think.
Bluebirds, as you can see, lining up in the new pink away kit for the first time this evening in championship action. That is Siriki Dembele, recalled by Darren Ferguson this evening, favoured ahead of Jack Marriott in the striking role alongside Johnson Clark Harrison, largely off the back of his 99th minute winner here against Derby County at the weekend. He amongst the goals also on Saturday. Leandro Bacuna shook off some criticism from the week before and those 2 misses against Barnsley by planting a back post header to give the Bluebirds the lead on the northwest coast at the weekend. And that's the man who continues to lead the line this evening, as he has done in the 2